everybody, and welcome to the show. Oh, whoops. We have a special guest today. We've got Adam Conjure and Darian Darqly. And today we're going to be talking about hag's heads and spirit vessels and mojo hands, familiar spirits in general. I'm happy to have them on the show. I've been looking forward to this. So a couple months ago, Adam and I worked on a joint project together to do some spirit pots and like for Venus and Jupiter, and that was a lot of fun, and it was cool. And he showed me some pictures of some stuff that Darian was working on at the time, and it was just I don't want to get into how you made it or anything yet, but it was just early stages of the hag's heads, and they were just so fucking beautiful. I was like, oh my god, the intricate details on them and the expressions on the faces, and you could just feel the ensoulment of the art before it was even ensouled, if you know what I mean. And I was just like, that's gonna be a cool thing. So I've been looking forward to you releasing those things, and you did, and I'm very happy about that. So thanks for coming on. Do you guys want to tell everybody a little bit about yourselves before we get too far into things?
Want to start, Darian?
Yeah, I came by magic through Christianity, actually.
Same.
I was a minister for years, and the more I studied Judaism and got into Kabbalah, and that kind of opened the door for me. But I was an exorcist for over a decade, as a Christian, and came to realize as a witch that conjuration is just the flip side of exorcism. And so the ensouling of objects kind of comes naturally for me, I feel like.
That's cool. And Adam, do you want to talk a little bit about your background, or?
Oh, sure. I had just the strangest of experiences beginning even as a child. Things I never could explain, and certainly, like, I also grew up in Southern Baptist and Methodist and Catholic churches, and but I could never make sense of any of those through that lens. And so it wasn't until like I was a teen and I was a young adult and was able to have a little bit more freedom to express myself and actually experiment with things that I stepped in. I personally began with shamanic healing, energy medicine, working with like trance and ecstatic states, and then into conjure and then ceremonial magic.
Mm-hmm. And you've been running a shop now for a little while with the Devil's Conjure.
Yeah. We're in our 6th year.
How long? I'm sorry.
We're in our 6th year. We started in 2019, before pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm. And so at a high level, so like I know what you offer, but do you want to talk about what you offer, like the different types of services and classes and oils and tools and stuff, or?
Yeah, so at Devil's Conjure, we always strive to offer the highest quality products and materia, things that we ourselves would use, and a lot of the creations themselves are things that we have honed and created. Basically products that we put into work ourselves that we now offer because we know they work. And then, we basically want to offer things that people can take and exert their own will and empower their own magical practices. And then as far as our services, we offer, it kind of runs the gamut of everything from divination and, ritual magic, magical mentoring, think consultation and things like that. So we kind of offer something for every situation. It's like if you can't do the magic, we can do it for you. If you don't know how to move forward, there's divination is an option. And then if you can do it, obviously yourself and feel experienced enough, we offer an array of products.
Yeah.
And everything from like conjure, astrological magic, traditional witchcraft.
It's a one-stop shop. It's great. So like I do, I didn't realize I was on the ceremonial magic side of things. I like to think of it as like planetary conjure magic, you know. I don't think of it as ceremonial magic, but I guess sort of I found out, I was doing some research on myself online because, you know, it's curious to see what people have to say sometimes. And it turns out that a lot of people think of me as a ceremonial magician. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I was in the OTO for a while. But, you know, even as a ceremonial magician, you know, but more specifically as a 16th century angel conjuring, planetary magic wielding person, all of the grimoires require oils and herbs and materia that you need to have gathered at a certain time and all this stuff. And it's fun to do on your own. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have time to learn how to do all this stuff, you know. And you guys are a specialist boutique crafts shop that provides very specialized materials for a niche audience and high quality stuff too. I've got I use it almost every day. I have several of your oils around here, but I ordered a special that's not it. I ordered a special blend from you that was just like lightning struck wood and orange and vanilla. Oh my god, that stuff is great. It's a wonderful mercury oil. It's a wonderful lightning kind of oil. It's great for like zapping things. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because the zapping things, all your oils, all your materials have that zap to it, right? And it's like, you know, you just know that it's made by a magician and it's made in the right frequency. You know, the right harmonies have been applied to it for it to hold the charge, or whatever you want to call it. You know, it carries the vibration that you've put into it, and you can feel that you put a lot of love and care into it. Thank you. One of the things that you offer, in addition to the handy stuff that I use, like, and by the way, your oils are in all of my planetary stuff, pots and stuff that I sell and stuff. It's, I'm able to vibe with it as a magician, and like the planetary oils in particular are really good for my style of magic. So that's why I keep ordering them from you, and why I will keep ordering them from you and promote them everywhere. So I wanted to promote that to anybody who's doing my stuff on the side, because it was really effective. But another thing that you do that I didn't, this is something that Nicole, my wife, buys stuff from you guys too for her practices, which are, we do things in parallel, but we're not joined. I mean, we're joined at the hip in a lot of ways, but like she has her studies and I have my studies, and we have our places where we overlap, but we both utilize your services quite a bit. But she's the one that got the black pullet from you, right? And that was the first time I had purchased a familiar from someone online, and I've seen that done before, you know, and I was like, I've always thought, I was highly skeptical is a nice way to put it, you know, that you can buy a spirit from someone online. But then, you know, I got to know you and I trusted your products and everything. So I was like, why would he do this? And then I saw it was the black pullet, right? And I was like, oh yeah, it all clicked, you know, like literally the grimoires tell you this is to get a familiar spirit, right? So why wouldn't you be able to put it into a Mojo bag and deliver it to people, right? Like, why wouldn't that? It makes sense when you understand what's going on, I guess. And I never kind of, like I read the instructions. I was like, oh, oh, they're doing it the traditional. There's nothing new here. You know what I mean? It's like, but I mean, I'm not saying that what you're doing isn't new or novel, or I don't mean it that way, but I just mean it's very traditional after all, and I thought it was cool.
The only way we could even do it any more so is if we had like a black hen egg, and like you fed it your own blood and made like an M out of it and all that. So.
Right. So, so how did you guys get into that kind of thing? So like, it's not just that, right? I mean, you've got other things too that function as familiar spirits. So I was hoping that you could explain like how you work with these things, first of all, or maybe, I don't know, where would you like to start with it? Is it, do you want to start about like what it is that they are? Like, I know that you sell like Mojo bags and they have like emblems on them, and it's hard to explain what it is that is, because it's not just that, it's the material thing, but then there's a spirit, and then there's the process of working with it, and then how it, anyway, do you want to talk about all that stuff?
Can I brag on him real quick?
Sure.
He formulates most of the oils, and I help, like if some ingredients come to mind, I'll mention them. But the oils are so much alive that we've taken pictures of the oils in the big jars when they've just been made, and there are faces and there are like creatures in the picture that like made out of all the material floating around in there. It's like just amazing little collages of things that show up in the images. And so like even even in the pictures, it's amazing. They really are, they're alive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as like how they're created, a lot of the things, like for example, like with the black pullet, the black dog, the serpent oil, we both were inspired to create something around like basically spirits or beings or familiars or creatures that are part of folklore that are associated with the devil and with witches and with witchcraft kind of or those practices all over the world, and then also the ways that they're seen, you know, according to like folk tales or certain cultural perspectives. And so like even in like with the bat, we'll talk about like one part talks about like with Mayan cosmology, there's basically a bat god, which I think inspired Batman in some ways. But and so they see the bat as like very empowering and transformative. But other cultures see them in a light of like in Asia, there are cultures that see them as like misfortune or bringers of bad luck and death. And but often they come to us like even the hag's head spirit vessels, like those are basically and he has, you know, he basically created them, so he knows that as far as I know, like they're basically beings that and witches or hags or of that form in one way that are connected to basically Lilith, and it's like they basically serve under her, but those are spirits that like came to him and then and basically wanted to be given form. And so often we're not always like, oh, this is like for sale. It's like, oh, damn, I need to like consider like the red devil, you know, the devil of the crossroads. You know, I think of them when I see images of like a, you know, in casinos or whatever, where there's a red devil and he's got like three cards or whatever, or he's sort of depicting luck or fortune. But yeah, those are beings that like came to us and basically wanted to be, you know, created in the oil, or it's sort of us paying. It's kind of like an homage to those spirits, like we created it, create something in honor to them, and then it's like, okay, well, this has worked for us, and it will certainly work for other people. So, like the black pullet oil, even like you mentioned with working with the black pullet, uh, the part where it mentions like where it can be worked with to create like a nest egg, like a golden egg. I've still never worked with the black pullet in that way. I work with them for on behalf of clients like or myself, like break hexes or a number of other things. But it's amazing that that people can like take something we created and the instructions and be able to have like far more of an experience and far deeper of a connection in their own way.
Cool, cool.
We encourage people too to do their own research, because whatever they may be able to dig out of folklore is something they can also utilize in working with them. We can only provide so much material, you know, in the printout that we send out with them and stuff. But yeah, people can get as creative as they want, and it will work for them.
Yeah, Nicole did a lot of research on the black pullet and familiar spirits from the 16th century after we got that, because it was so like. All right, so I've worked with Paimon, from the Goetia, to receive my own familiar spirit, and I know how they work, and they're great. I love them, but the black pullet spirit that we got was just like, it was like on fire, it was great. It was a little bit more active, a little bit more responsive, a little bit more like what we would express to it or write down on our petitions. It was very like Johnny on the spot, very very like very cool. It was neat to see. And then I got the I have the Red Devil also, and I've worked with that one, and I will say it lives up to the description on the on the label, every bit of it. It really is effective at just about anything you want it to do, and does love that cinnamon whiskey. So let's see. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about the inspiration for the hag's heads in particular. I'm going to pull up a picture. I had it up a second ago, but I realized they were I didn't have them focused right, but I think I've got it a little bit more focused here. I want to pull up the actual image of it so we could see, so that people could see kind of how beautiful they are. But I wanted to know, like, you said that you got this spirit, they were under Lilith, and you were inspired. They came to you. Do you want to talk a little bit about where the images come from for these guys, or? Uh-huh.
Singing with the angels while they created the world. And I think that there's something in the Lilith mythology that kind of plays into that there were beings before there were humans, and those beings helped kind of like custodians of the earth. And I feel like that's what some of these beings are that I see from time to time. But when I created the hag's heads, honey, would you hold that up?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow, they're a lot bigger than I thought.
I think she might be the last one.
She is, yeah.
We
Really?
have.
Already? Oh my gosh, I wanted to have you on before you sold out. But you have more coming, right? Though.
Very possibly.
I hope so. So I wanted to know how you actually made them. Like I've got a big picture, a big zoomed in picture of, I think it's that one up right now, and you can just see, like, I can't tell if it's made out of clay or what it. Okay.
And they talk back, like we have conversations about what they want to do in the world, and how they want to be represented, and I do that with all of the magical things that I make. That's why I don't mass produce a lot of things, and I don't really work off commissions for magical things, because they have to impress themselves upon me.
Right. It has to be inspired.
Yeah, and that's when they're the most potent.
Mm-hmm.
When a spirit will come to me and say, "Would you create a vessel for me?" And so I will, and they want to be, they want to make them available to the public, because they want to be out there, and they want to be working with someone and doing something productive. And so I have conversations with them while I'm sculpting them, and I just, I'm just like, rolling up clay and making their noses and shaping them and everything while we're just chatting like friends.
Do you
And
fire them too, or are they? Is it
I bake them in the oven
okay?
and until they get nice and solid,
Uh,
like a little bit.
yeah, that's cool. They look amazing. The detail on them, like I can tell that there's a personality. Like as soon as I saw some of the ones that you were working on in the pictures, like I felt one was already calling out to me. That I think I got the green one in the middle, right? So that's yeah. That one was like speaking to me like from the beginning. I was like, I gotta get that one before. Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to working with them. Sorry, I cut you off.
I'm so glad that you got one. Great.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't share it with anybody until after. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. Your audio wasn't coming through when I was turning off the. When I was showing the pictures, people weren't hearing what you were saying. I'm so sorry, Darian. Some of the things that you said, I hope that we have touched on since then. But oh my goodness, that makes me feel terrible. They weren't up for very long, so I hope that not.
And if we need to discuss anything again, that's fine too.
I think we were talking about the inspiration forum and like how I think you were talking about how they had come up to you, and can you talk about a little bit about like where you had seen them when you were growing up?
Yeah, when I've been seeing spirits since I was a small child, and they'll come and they'll talk to me and stuff. And uh, when we were living in Alabama, I saw hags on numerous occasions. We lived out in the country, and I'd be uh, driving the car on the roads out there, and on more than one occasion, I would see these tall beings that were about 8 feet tall, and they had big noses and big good eyes. Their faces looked very much like the traditional idea of like a Halloween witch, but they had like long arms and spindly fingers like spider legs, and
Mm-hmm.
they're generally nude, like they had droopy breasts and pot bellies. And I remember one night in particular that I was backing the car out and getting ready to go somewhere, but it was dark already, and this being just stepped out of the woods off the side of the road and crossed the road in front of me. I stopped the car because I realized I was having a spiritual moment. And when she got to the other side of the road, she just turned back and looked at me, and then went on into the trees on the other side. And I have had many experiences with hags and had visions where they showed me like a circle of hags at the beginning of time, and they were singing with the angels while they created everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do believe that some of the things that we see in the world, like the Fae, are custodians of the planet and have been since the beginning.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for repeating that. I super appreciate it. I wasn't sure exactly what part I was showing. I was so excited to show the pictures of the hag. I didn't realize I was muting you every time I did. But I apologize to the audience. That was but yeah, it's just that the artwork that you put into it is just it's so detailed, and like it's so expressive of that spirit's essence, and I really wanted to kind of platform that because so much of my work with the spirits is dry, right? It's very like not as like I get ecstatic and I get passionate about things, but it's like in a charismatic Christian kind of way, like I'm excited about my experience with Hermes or Aphrodite or whatever my planetary thing of the day is. It's ecstatic and exciting. but it's my joy and my resonance with that energy, you know. But when I started working with the Black Pullet and the Red Devil, it's not like that. They have their own personalities that they bring to the table, and I think that's fascinating because I think that I don't know how much of that is from you guys impressing it on it or you giving it room for it to just be itself. But what is your process for actually ensouling these things when it comes down to the ritual for consecrating them and making them enlivened the way you do?
When we started formulating the oils for the Devil's Dozen, that's what we call the 13 oils. We were thinking about the animals that are throughout history associated with the devil himself, and that was our inspiration initially. And then we set out to meet these spirits and work with them. And so when I think of one of my favorite oils is the black sow. It is so powerful. And
that's the one that feeds, right?
What's that?
Like it suckles you in a way that it kind of like provides.
Yes, and yet is extremely protective, like a mother. Like
has martial qualities, like
yeah,
they're martial plants even. So there's an
yes,
association.
and they were pigs were offerings to Ares.
And they love thistle plants, so that's part of it. We even have that in as part of the formulation.
That's awesome. Nicole was telling me about how thistles are like the devil's guardian in your yard or something like that. Like the tallest one is the devil's thistle or something like that. So, cool.
We try to provide a little bit of direction, so when someone is conjuring them, they've got something to go with. And I encourage people basically to use what I used when I was first meeting with each of them, and that's to really visualize, make it alive for you. And this is what I did with the Black Sow. I put on some dark academia music, and I also played the sound of pigs, like
snorting.
Yeah, snorting and stuff while I was visualizing. And I visualized this huge sow in the middle of the room. And the next thing I know, I'm like seeing her, like having a experience with her. And she had red eyes, and she got right up to my face, her snout right in front of my face. And it was like I could feel her breath on me. And she was terrifying, but amazing at the same time. And that's kind of where I like to operate magically. Growing up, everything, well, in Christianity, you know, everything's neat and tidy, and everything good is white and everything bad is black. And that mentality, I love the merger of what people consider good and evil. And we're working on a book, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share a quote from the book. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this kind of encapsulates the way that I view witchcraft. Witchcraft can sometimes be dark of necessity, because life is sometimes dark. Witches who claim Mother Nature is all love and light and peace would be well served to look again. She is also greedy and violent and horny, and it's the balance of her savagery and her majesty that is her power. Yeah. It's between the beauty of growth and the horror of decay that her true magic can be found.
Hell yeah.
Like that raw primal power. And I feel like that's what so much has been bleached and cleansed and stuff, especially modern magic. So much is so clean, and it's like some of us need to use our rage as like our weapon, especially with all the crazy political, socio-economical craziness going on right now. So
yeah, I saw a quote somebody was passing around from Eliphas Levi the other day about how the magician will be completely separate from their emotions and above all of the daily problems that humans face, and shall not take money for magic because magic is not a vocation. I was like, fuck you, Lifus, you piece of shit. You're the problem, you know? And it's like these 19th century magicians set up this stupid standard of unobtainium, you know, this unobtainable ideal that has nothing to do with real magic. And this lab environment version of the occult where you banish everything except the one pure little granule, you know, it's like what is it? It's it's like the Bach flower remedies or the homeopathy, you know. It's like that kind of, like, let's get rid of everything but the barest minimum of a little bit of Jupiter and snort like pure lines of that, you know. And it's like, that's not magic, you know. There needs to be almond oil and like the wand at dawn on a Wednesday, and like there needs to be like you cut yourself a little bit when you were working on it somehow, and there's just a little bit of blood and sweat in everything you're working with, whether you mean to or not, when you're doing real magic, you know. And you read these, like I read Lon Milo Duquette's stories about his. I was super inspired when I was only a book magician. I read about Lon Milo Duquette making a wand. I was so impressed. And it's like, and he actually bled a little bit for it. I was like, oh wow, that's so spiritual, you know. Then I made my own stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, he scratched himself once. Good job, buddy. You know, it's like all this stuff. Like, I mean, I've got a bone that doesn't work on my pinky now. That was from the those Jupiter pots. I've got my pinky is not going to ever be shaped the same. It's okay. It's okay. But it's you know, I mean, there's something visceral about real magic, and the emotional passion of my successful magic, right? Versus my, I can sort of see that this could be related to the words that I spoke in perfect intonations without any emotions whatsoever. It's sort of the same. But when I get mad and I do magic, I'm like, oh shit, that's because I need to apologize. You know? It's because it works when you're emotional, you know? And it's like, so anyway,
I think that's because we move past the filters and the bullshit narratives and all that, and we step into with Christianity or Judeo-Christian, you know, sources or practice or mythos or otherwise, like where they speak about stepping into the armor of God. It's like that's what you're doing in that moment, and you do so liberated, like freely. And so I think that's why sex magic works so well. Like you don't have to say anything except for someone's obviously screaming, "Oh God, oh God!" but yeah, like there's you're literally you just climax together, and you or both people or everyone is just envisioning, you know, some amazing glorious outcome, and all of that, you know, is culminating and is, you know, so and is powerful. And so yeah, I think the emotions, you know, it's just something that for some reason it's been locked off, or like you're saying with the Lapis Levi, like him even saying, oh, you shouldn't approach it from an emotional state. And it's like, well, how would you approach it otherwise? You know, even if you're in the Zen state, you're still like calm and chill.
Right. I'm afraid to look at the comments. So people have been sending comments through this whole thing, and I imagine now that I know that I was muting you for like part of it, I'm almost afraid to look at it. Let me take a look at some of the questions that have come in since we've been talking. Maybe it's not too bad. All right, Allison says, sweet. We've got hand pink waving right on. Somebody's, oh my gosh, somebody's like talking about how we hate Jesus. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Let me just turn this one off. We'll put that user in timeout. And I'm sorry, King of the Earth. We had a whole Christian ranting on us, you guys. I feel terrible.
Thank you for the publicity.
I'm just gonna. You guys want to hear what they said? We cursed ourselves by the laws of magic. Refused to say the names, therefore you made them an enemy. When it comes to magic, the exact name. Oh my gosh, they've got a lot going on. Oh, but maybe
Wow.
Logic says, "Oh, Adam, have heard lovely things about you. Beautiful work, folks." No audio, Rufus. Can't hear them after your question. Did we lose? Oh, damn it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, a lot of people telling me that the stuff is off. Okay, all right. Yes, my wife actually came and told me. She said Nicole sent me handed me a handwritten note. It was like, "Hey, dummy." Okay, all right. Virgo says they didn't hear what they were made out. Audio cut out. Oh, do you want to talk again about what they were made out of?
Yeah. I make them out of clay, and so I also talk to them while I'm making them, and they'll talk back in my head, and we'll just have a conversation while I'm sculpting their nose and indenting for their eyes, but yeah, I'm just sculpting them out of clay, and then once they're finished, then I bake them in the oven until they become kind of hard like a brick.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the process. And then for a spirit pot, I will put them in the triangle of manifestation, and I will use ceremonial practice to conjure them, to call forth. In the case of the Hag's Head spirit pots, on the underside of the lid to their little cauldron is the sigil for Lilith.
Oh, cool.
And on the top, and just underneath the Hag's Head, is the glyph for Lilith, the astrological glyph.
Yeah,
And
you were saying earlier that they came to you as beings that were from the writings, inspired by the writings of Lilith, from the beings that existed before the creation of the earth, right? I wanted to make sure that part came through too, because I didn't want to cut that out.
That was in a vision that I had well, actually a few encounters with hags, a vision of them in a circle, helping create the world, helping bring it into existence through their songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that they're very old, like much older than we are.
Yeah, there's something ancient about them, like, and it's like you can see them echoed in like the in like the Clash of the Titans, the hags in that
Yes.
cave, and like and I'm always reading about Zeus and the stuff that happened around the Titanomachy, right? That's my shtick, right? And the monsters that he worked with and the monsters he worked against, and when he was fighting the Titans, are very much like these hags, the way you describe them, with the long arms and the long legs. And they were the Titans that were too ugly to be seen, according to Cronus, and that's why Gaia worked with Rhea to overthrow Cronus, is because her creations were not ugly. She was like, "These are my beautiful children, and you cannot say that," And I really feel like I did have a picture of the hag's heads in the triangle of art. By the way, I did. You sent me a picture of that, and I was showing it earlier when I was muting you. But the way you capture that, the beauty of them in their almost grotesqueness. And I wanted to talk about the grotesqueries. So I saw a special on Antiques Roadshow. There's an art piece that they found from the Appalachian community that was all these grotesque faces on a jar, and it was like. And it was very similar to the style of art that you have in your hag's heads. The imagery is very, very similar, like a little bit distorted, like a little bit enlarged mouths, or a little bit different shaped. And it was just pretty interesting. I was wondering how did you study that, or did you learn it, or is it just part of your background, or how did you come to that?
It has been inspired over the things that I've seen over the years, like the encounters that I've had with hags in visions and so forth. And they, as they talk to me, they have very different personalities. But like as I was making the hag's head spirit pots, they have a sense of humor, and they're very wise, and they're trickstery, like well, kind of like they if you ask them a question, they will ask you a question to, like put it back on you, make you really think about it, because they know the answer. They've been around since the beginning, but
Yeah.
they just, each one has like a personality of their own. But I like to work with what scares me, and hags have always been scary to me. And I love that aspect. Nietzsche said, and I'm going to totally butcher his quote, but he said that anything, any power that's important in humanity must first wear a terrifying face to etch itself into the human consciousness.
That's
And
interesting.
I love to work with what scares me, because there's a sense in which you have to meet that fear with courage. And then it seems like the spirit that you're working with, no matter how scary they may look, they respect you for having the guts to stand toe to toe with them. And so I believe that's why the spirit pots are powerful, because I'm a little bit scared of the beings that I'm working with or dealing with at the time.
I have a healthy respect for the Red Devil. You know, I have a very healthy like, I don't know. It's not that I don't trust it. Like, I feel trusting of it, but I just, I just know that it's not a safe. It's not a tame lion. No, it's not a tame.
Yeah, but that's also why you have to be careful giving too much instruction, because you still need people to kind of experience that in a way, and kind of like with the devil, it's like even with Hermes or Mercury, it's like, to me, even though they are a god amongst other forms, they are very trickstery and stuff, but they're also a miraculous ally. And so, but he is one ally of many that I kind of had to see all sides before I could kind of see through it all, and as they truly exist. But yeah, the red devil oil is definitely one of the, like the she devil oil is another oil that is powerful. One thing that's really interesting with the vessels is we have the head that is sort of enthroned within the vessel is about 20 different herbs and roots. They're like bird feathers, and
I was going to ask you about that.
In there, yeah. So with anything else, we always like from our talismans and everything else, the formulation is almost more important to me than even like how they appear, because I know that no matter what, it's going to work and kind of exceed expectations. But yeah, the Hag's Head spirit vessels have like foraged black nightshade from our yard. It has like owl feathers that were collected from an owl that died that I came across at a crossroads years ago, and was able to harvest like a few feathers. But it has like just like a lengthy list of different roots and resins and dirts and different things.
Awesome. Anthony Goulet had a question. He said, "What are your thoughts on statue animation in ancient Greece and Egypt?" I wanted to ask about that too, because like a lot of the ensouling rites in the Greek magical papyri seem to be like they're describing what you guys are doing here today, and I was very curious about that too. But he's like, "What are your thoughts on that?" So,
I have researched some of that phenomenon, and I couldn't quote the source. I apologize. It's been years since I've read it, but there is a story about a pharaoh who would walk with the statue of gods through the courtyard, and he talks about a statue stepping down from its pedestal and taking a walk. I don't know for certain if they were having a physical experience, or if they were having a spiritual experience, a vision of sorts. But I've seen crazy things, and so I don't put much outside the realm of possibility. When I was working as an exorcist, I can remember just things that would happen that would be kind of like from the Exorcist movie, not quite as dramatic, but I can remember a spirit would come up in someone, and it would start pointing out sins of the people on our team that were working to expel the spirit and stuff that person would not possibly know. And so I would tell people, hey, if you got any dark secrets, you might want to come out.
That's why confession is good for the soul.
I do totally believe that sort of thing is possible. I have out of the corner of my eye seen images like statues move and stuff. So I think it could totally happen.
Is there a formal ritual that you guys do to ask the spirits to move into the physical vessels, or is it something where they're just like already there because they inspired it from the very beginning and they're creating it?
For me, the conversations that I'm having with them while I'm making them, I ask them details like that, like what would be the best way for me to conjure you into this vessel.
Okay.
They'll give me some specifics, and I write those things down. And then when I perform the rite to ensoul the image or the sculpture, I'll use what they told me, and it works.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like it goes from the conversations we were having in my head to like me like feeling that, whoa, they are here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that experience with the Glacia, when I was just drawing out the seals or just drawing out when you're just practicing, the vibration starts to resonate in your sphere before you even begin the ritual, right? It's like it's very much an initiatory process to prepare the vessel itself. Yep, and Anthony says he takes the same approach. So very great, very great. Cool. All right, now that was awesome. Let's see, what else was there? Anything else? Yeah. So, how would you differentiate the hag spirit from the black pullet? Like what? So I'm gonna have both in my house, and Nicole primarily works with the hag spirit. But like, what kind? I'm sorry, with the black pullet, and I have thoughts about the hag spirit. So what kind of, like, how are they alike and how are they different in terms of like the different types of mojo hands or vessels or whatever they might happen to be?
I would say, according to their function, kind of like you were asking, like, does the consecration happen like prior or like when you actually do the thing, or like, and things like that. Like, so for me, like, often like I already have a working relationship with like the red devil or the black pullet, and so like and we sell a ton of like the red devil oil, the mojo hands, and things like that, and so I regularly make them. But yeah, even as he mentioned, as he's creating something, I'm calling to like Cyprian, the red devil, to the materia within, like Abracamino and the oils and like fixed whiskeys or whatever I'm feeding them, and as I'm awakening them to life and stuff. And so yeah, it's definitely according to like their function, how they might work. But then it's kind of like with the hag vessels, that is something that's meant to sort of sit upon an altar or a shrine to call upon them. And obviously it includes like our the hag oil that are only created for these. But yeah, the vessels are like with the hags are certainly different than the black pullets, mojo hands, and the oils. And the way that the amulets actually, in the way that they function.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the amulets are obviously a little more mobile and something that you can travel with, obviously according to size, but they're equally powerful, according to the spirit. But yeah, go ahead.
And the hag's head spirit pots, they can sit on your altar or in your home, and they'll be with you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
They're very protective and kind of maternal in a way. But they can also be really fierce and ferocious if that's what you need.
That's cool. So with my spirit pots, I often write petitions and I put them in the pot and walk away. Is that something that you recommend too for this type of magic?
Like, so if you're working with for the hag's head spirit vessels, you could certainly light a candle, speak to them. You could You could place like some petition or something like underneath the vessel, like on top. You could basically. So essentially, like I think of them like a statue or an icon that I would have on like an altar. And so I have, devil statues that represent Satan and the devil of the crossroads and the red devil and different sort of devilish beings. And so in my work, usually I have them there, and I'm like, as I'm preparing the candle work or an amulet, or if I'm breaking a hex for a client or whatever, I'm calling to them and I'm saying, assist me in this. You can obviously see far beyond my own scope what is necessary in this situation. So I'm calling forth like the devil, the Cyprian, and saying, assist me in this work. And so they serve, and like with the vessels, they can help in really any kind of magic, typically, as far as witchcraft, like for binding or sex or power or like divination. Like you can actually have like a vessel on a space that if someone is like a diviner, especially a professional, they could have like a candle burning for the hag and ask that they sort of come forth, grant them clarity, help them to see and to reveal all.
And
Right.
I would suggest if you were using a petition with the hag's head pots to write out your petition and either tie it to the cauldron or poke a hole in it, run some string through it, and tie it around their neck.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's cool. That's really cool. I think I like that a lot. I'll do the around the neck thing. That's cool. I have another vessel that this is my other vessel that I made. This is I made that one. So anyway, I'll have to remember to anyway, I'll have to use that too. But cool. Another thing I wanted to talk about was like too many spirits. So like, at what point do you get like enough? When are enough? And how do you know when you're starting to get to a point where you might have too eclectic of a collection, and how do you kind of harmonize all that stuff?
I would say it kind of comes with the question of people asking me, I'll have people that come to me, they want to learn magic or otherwise, and I'll say, well, do you want to be a witch or do you want to accomplish A, B, and C? And so that's the way I typically, obviously I have connections and like loving relationships with spirits and allies like Hi John that I've worked with for years, who showed up in ways I could never have imagined. But yeah, often I have like certain goals, or we have things we work towards together magically. And so we have spirits that we entrust those things to, like whether it might be like the four kings or the, the angels who rule the planets and things like that. And so, if one knows what they're doing, you can set insert spirits you can set certain spirits in place, to help carry out certain things that sort of support what you're overall trying to bring about. But yeah, you can certainly do too much. I find that if you're doing a certain kind of magic, towards something, or you're working with something and you're not seeing some results, typically, divination and discernment is great, but more than likely someone just needs, to take care of their spiritual hygiene. I find a cleansing bath, sort of some style of road opening work will kind of open the way. And so, but there are times when people are like, oh, maybe if I start working with this spirit too, and now I'll create this talisman. And it's like, well, eventually you have so many things, and I've experienced burnout magically myself many times, where you're working 10 altars and eventually you're like, well, fuck, like I'm not getting the payback basically in my time, the 10,000 mantras I spoke to pray and all that. And so there does come a time, like we have clients who are like, I bought everything you have, and they're like, I have it all going, but they are having trouble maintaining. And it's like, well, you could take one or two oils or work with one or two spirits and accomplish many things. Like for example, with the black pullet, you could work with it for like protection, for money, for all kind, a number of purposes in that way. So
well, the red devil, the red devil is a standalone spirit too. Like, I mean, that's like a whole pantheon in a bottle. So Yeah. I was just so when I get my hag spirit, one of the things I plan to do, and this is something I do with all my new stuff. Whenever I get new stuff, is I do a conjuration of my holy guardian angel, supernatural assistant style, like from the Greek magical papyri, and I ask it to make the harmonizing offerings to all the spirits so that everybody is working in accordance with everything, and lately I've been doing a lot more resonance-based approach to interpreting magic and occult transformations, like more sound stuff, because Nicole's studying sound healing, of course. So everything is like sound now, and I was like, oh, it makes so much more sense, and I kind of understand the Kabbalion a little bit better. But anyway, no, I get what they meant now. It's kind of dumb the way they put it, but I still am gonna hate on the Kabbalion for just for political reasons. But I understand what they're trying to say, though. But like with all the different spirits, like you were saying, like you end up like the Magister, the Maestro, in the Goetia, in the middle of the circle it says Meister or Maestro or something like that, and I always thought, that's exactly what we are. We're conducting the orchestra, and all that stuff. But I think what you said is key. Like when you start to feel burnout and you're doing more for the spirits than they're doing for you.
Yeah, I find that if you have a time where you're like, I'm doing all this stuff, and for whatever reason, in my present state, I can't see that anything's happening. Like even in my own practice, in the past, I'll just step away for a day or two, and it's like, well, at this point, I've entrusted this, and these spirits are responsible, and so if they can't kind of buck up and show up and come through, there are billions of spirits. Like there are more spirits and classes of spirits and beings in realms we don't even know about yet, and so it's like there's some spirit out there who would love that offering, or who would love to be remembered or revered or honored or to be taught about in the world, and like Cyprian. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you can have a horde of spirits working for you, and that's awesome, but I found having like 2 or 3 who are solid in what they do, and that you can trust, and they come through every time is great. And that's why talismans are wonderful, because it's basically like this battery that's been consecrated at a certain electional timing or otherwise, and it always works, and stuff. So even if people don't know what the hell they're doing in magic, it's like, well, it was made correctly, so as long as you don't lose it or otherwise, then it's going to serve its purpose. So.
Right.
I think it's important to remember who you are. We have 4 classes on the philosophy of magic that we go deeper into it, but I think of the Bornless Rite. It says, if you break it down, it says, I am the prophet, I am the angel, I am the God. And spirits long to work with us. They really want to help us carry out the will of God on earth, and they want to work with us, and so they will line up, and there will be lots and lots of them. But that's why, like, magicians have armies of spirits. That's why in the Key of Solomon, one chief demon will have like
20,000 legions.
Yeah, and you will too as a magician. We don't or interact with them all, but we have an army of spiritual militia, and so I think it's important to remember who you are and not get that flipped around, because there are some tricky spirits that would love to make you think that you are under their thumb.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people we're groomed. We're groomed to be servants for others. And spirits know that as much as anybody else does. So, yeah, you just got to be careful. You got to have good boundaries and good communication skills.
Yeah, and that demon killing dagger or something around it. Herba or bowline or right handled knife. So.
Something. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. It looks like we don't have any new questions. People definitely agree with everything we've said. Oh, Samantha says, hello. Have mostly only worked with angels, and I'm curious about how to safely integrate the demons in my practice.
I personally would say that if you, and hello, Samantha, if you've been working with demons or with angels for really long, then you already are ready to work with them. Um, I think that we have a misnomer about demons. We see them as being like the antithesis of angels. They're not exactly. The word demon comes from a Greek word, and it means a messenger or a servant of the gods. And I tend to look at them more like that.
Mm-hmm.
Demons may carry a darker, more primal energy.
Right.
Angels seem a little more refined, and angels seem a little more concerned with the benefit of all humanity, while demons are willing to work with you on your selfish goals.
As long as
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, yeah.
My opinion on that is that a lot of that has to do with the magician's expectations of angels versus their expectations of demons. I think that the angels are just as like after you get to know them for a little while, they're not as clean as they like to pretend. So,
They
but
can be horrifying too.
right.
They can be horrifying too. Like visions that I've had of angels that towered and were covered with eyes, and just like this awe comes over you, like but they can be just as scary
Right.
as like the scary things that we think of as being demons.
like the angels who were kind of like the essence of the wrath of God and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so it's like it's not personal, it's business.
Right.
Yeah.
The wrath of God is pakad, and it's like the same. It's the same word that means like awe and wonder is also the word for fear and all that. And also I wanted to so like one of the things I do with the demons is I stopped thinking of them in the terms of the biblical angels fell and became demons and started looking at it as more as these are the angels of the terrestrial world versus the angels of the celestial world. And when I started looking at them that way, my view of them changed and my relationship with them changed. Oh, I have a question for you, Darian. You're ordained, right, as a priest? Adam, are you ordained too?
I can do weddings, but I'm not like an ordained minister or
Oh,
anything. But I
you,
my wedding license or whatever. So.
Yeah,
you
I was ordained as a Baptist. Don't tell them I'm a witch.
Okay. Did your ordination like go back to the throne of Peter through some hands-on ordination thing?
Yes and no, because
Uh-huh.
Baptists don't like to acknowledge their roots in Catholicism, even though that's where all of Christianity kind of comes from,
Yeah.
and Judaism before that. But uh, I underwent like a grueling 4-hour grilling by 7 of my professors from the Bible college I attended because my dad felt like that would get me ready. Like, I know the Bible.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but my parents raised me on all that stuff, so I know it a little too well too. Um, but I got initiated into like the wandering bishop's lineage or whatever from the Martinists, and my relationship with the spirits changed a lot after that. And I was wondering if your ordination, if you've seen any change or any difference in your relationship with the spirits because of your clergy versus just as like a normal person or previously as a normal person or something like that. Have you, hey, could you kind of explore that a little bit, or is that something that's like outside of your?
No, I could talk about that. I My ordination was when I was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I was ordained as a minister and was a minister for many years. I helped. Well, I started a church in Springfield where we live, and I also worked as a Messianic rabbi. I trained under a rabbi here, and he had multiple sclerosis, and he asked if I would take over his synagogue, so I did, and so I was juggling both at the same time.
Mm.
But I don't know if it is a respect for that office that I still carry, that spirits know that, and there's a respect there, or if it's simply from experience over however many years.
Building
I don't want
rapport.
to, I don't want to tell how old I am or anything.
29 years and counting. Yeah. Yeah, I think when I was ordained, like I had a more living experience of the spirits. Like I saw them as more living beings, even though they weren't in a body, in ways that I don't understand why an ordination would change that, but
Yeah.
like they almost became more real to me, and like I appreciated them as entities that had their own experiences to deal with too. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of compassion and a little bit of respect, that they're not just forces that you vibrate to their names and they vibrate their powers on demand. It's not like an on-off switch of a current. They're entities, and they're conscious, and they're aware, and they have feelings and thoughts and all these things. Not the ones I think, because like I project all this shit like onto these poor spirits. It's just like my dog. My dog is like, I'm like, you must be so mad at me, and she's like, oh, why would I be mad? I'm like, she's like, bark, And I'm like, oh yeah, this is all me being. That's my mom that I think is mad at me, isn't it? It's like the poor dog is like. I feel like I do that to my spirits a lot too. I think we all kind of project a lot onto these poor demons. But anyway, I got a little bit more compassion after my ordination. And anyway, I just thought that was something I wanted to touch on a little bit, because Samantha brought up her.
I did have some angelic experiences in the ministry over the years. I have on a few occasions seen physically, like you know how when you rub your eyes too hard and you get spots from your eyes? I've seen the perfect outline of a humanoid form that was much taller than the people sitting in the congregation, but these beings appeared to be standing in and among everyone. And they look like they were made up of that. Like if you rub your eyes too hard, the kind of sparkles that you see for a minute, they look like they're made up of that, but they're the perfect shape of a humanoid being. And I've seen that a few times, and still to this day, I'll have angelic visitations sometimes in the middle of the night. Well, usually in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
They'll wake me up and talk to me about the affairs of the world and things that are going on. And I feel privileged to be included. I'm not real sure why they come to me, but they do. And so we'll have conversations. Sometimes it lasts an hour or two, just while I'm laying there, and they'll just come into the room, and they've got some news or something to talk about. And I think it's maybe because I pray for the world, I pray for the well-being of everyone in it, and I think maybe because they know that I'll do that.
And then y'all can wait till he wakes up. My man needs to sleep. Y'all got all day to show up. And that's my approach. I'm like, all right. I'm at the altar. What's good? Let's do this.
And I was having a conversation, and he wakes up and he says, "Whoa, who is that standing in the door?" Because he saw the shape of something in the door. And I was like, "Honey, it's angels. They've come to talk to me. You can go back to sleep."
As if I could fall asleep after them.
Yeah, and it's like that living with Nicole too, Adam. I feel your pain, but you wake up and they're like just traipsing through. I mean, I got my own spirits, don't get me wrong, but yeah, other people's spirits traipsing through is something. All right, I gotta wrap things up because I actually have a day job I gotta get to. Well, a night job, I guess now. It's fun for me, but it impugns upon my time to talk about fun stuff. So. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, definitely, I'd love to have you guys back. It's a real calm conversation and a lot of fun. And once I figured out I was muting you, it probably got a little better after that. But thanks again for everything. And I'll make sure I put all the links to Devil's Conjure. It's devilsconjure.com. I'll put it in the chat here.
Yeah, and everyone can find us on Facebook. You can find us at Devil's Conjure on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. yeah, devilsconjure.com is the best website for sure to kind of find all of our services and products and things like that.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for hopping on, and I
You,
really